everyone, I'm Jessica Stutzman, and welcome back to the Millcreek Government Channel. The Millcreek Paramedic Service, better known throughout the community as MPS, prides themselves on ensuring the health and well-being of all patients. It is the nonprofit organization's goal to make sure that unique services provided by Millcreek Paramedic Service are both professional and exceptional. With its roots in the fire service and its skills based on the most advanced life support techniques, you can rest assured that the well-trained and dedicated personnel of the Millcreek Paramedic Service have your family's best interest at heart. Joining us on the Millcreek Government Channel today is the Executive Director, Bill Martin. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Oh, how are you today?
I'm doing wonderful now that you're here and we can talk about all the services that you can provide.
Thank you.
What I want to dive into is the history of MPS and when and why it was founded.
Back in the late 90s, the Millcreek 5 departments decided that they were having a little bit difficult time answering ambulance calls. It was a big portion of the calls in Millcreek Township, and they went together and formulated a plan and formed Millcreek Paramedic Service. And we started on May 1st of 1999.
1999, so it's been quite some time that
Correct.
MPS has been around the community.
18 years.
18 years. And you are a new face, and I want to make sure that everybody gets to know your face and gets to know you and your background. So why don't you tell me, again, you're the new executive director, what your experience is in and where your background comes from.
Well, I've been involved in the emergency services since 1986. I started as a volunteer myself. I worked for Millcreek Paramedics when they first started until about 2010 and left for a little while, and came back and became executive director this past July. My experiences in EMS education and management critical care. I've got a pretty diverse background.
And so your relationship, and you just mentioned it when we were talking about the history, your relationship to the volunteer fire departments, I'm sure, has evolved over time, over the last 18 years. Can you talk about, that evolution and what that relationship looks like today? Well,
it started off, we were all part of a big team. We all worked together very well. We trained together, we drilled together. Millcreek Paramedic Service is part of the newly formed Fire Commission with the fire departments. We also attend all their chiefs meetings. We provide training for them, and essentially we do the ambulance service. We help them with supplies and a lot of other things that they need.
And why don't you just touch on real quickly, because this is brand new, the EMS and Fire Commission meetings. Tell us a little bit more about those.
The EMS and Fire Commission basically was designed by the Township to help aid in funding and support for the 5 fire companies, and included Millcreek Paramedic Service in with that. We generally meet on a monthly basis, and it includes all the fire departments in Millcreek Township, as well as 3 community members at large.
And we have a nice article I do want to mention to our viewers going into the In Millcreek magazine coming up in the winter issue about the EMS and Fire Commission. So just, you touched on it briefly, but if you want more information, it is in the In Millcreek magazine. Those meetings are open to the public, so very informative and good to get that information out there. Before we really dive more into the MPS membership aspect of the organization, what I want viewers to know is, who should they call in an emergency? Should they call your number directly?
They should always call 911, no matter where their emergency is. 911 is set up as a national number. It'll work anywhere you go, and you'll get the closest available ambulance anytime you call.
Okay, great. So call 911 always in an emergency.
Yes.
Okay. And so MPS does have different membership levels.
Correct.
So I do want to dive into that. I know some are individual based, some are family based. What are the costs associated with membership, and what do each of those tiers look like?
Basically the 2 types of membership we have are an individual and a family membership. The individual membership for 1 year is $35, and it's $60 for a 2-year membership. The family membership is $45 for 1 year, $60 for a 2-year membership. And with the family membership, it's everybody that's covered under your tax filings as of head of the household. For any membership for a senior, anybody over the age of 65, there is a $5 cost reduction on those, whether it's a 1-year or 2-year individual or family. There is a cost reduction associated with those, but everybody on the application has to be above the age of 65.
Okay. And if one of our viewers is watching and, they're debating, and those, again, are very, very reasonable prices for all of the services that you guys provide. If somebody is debating about getting a membership, why do you think they should get one?
It alleviates the problems that they might encounter financially with co-pays. Almost all your insurances now have some kind of co-pay. I know a lot of our Medicare patients, their co-pays are $250. So if you use the ambulance once, that easily covers the cost of your $35, $30 membership fee. If you're a senior, it would cover that cost.
What is the cost of an ambulance ride?
The average ambulance cost is between $900 and $1,200.
So the very nominal fee for getting an MPS membership really does take care of that
Correct.
financial hardship later.
Yes, it does.
Okay. And when does the membership go into effect? Once somebody actually signs up for service and they make their payment, when does that go into effect?
When we receive their application and their payment, that goes into effect then. It lasts until June 30th of, like currently our membership drive that's ongoing, these memberships will last till June 30th, November 30th of 2018.
Okay. So it's good for a year. And what happens if somebody joins in the middle of the year? Is it prorated?
It is not prorated. It's the same fee, and it would expire again on November 30th.
But again, even if you're signing up in the middle of the year, if you were to take that ambulance ride, it would be well worth.
Exactly. You're seeing an average reimbursement of Medicare $600. So that $300 to $600 that's left over, you'd be responsible for, and the membership would cover those costs.
Okay. And so if I did have insurance, would MPS bill my insurance then for the transport as a member?
Yes, we would bill your insurance and recover any costs that we could, but as a member, you would not personally be responsible for any remaining bill balance.
So it's very, very convenient and easy for members to
Correct.
take advantage of this service, and it really just puts their mind at ease that if something were to happen,
exactly,
you guys help
they
them
wouldn't
every
have
step
any
of the
more
way.
financial out of the pocket. The girls in our office will help answer any questions they'd have along the way. If there's any billing questions or any insurance questions, our girls can handle them as well.
And we just mentioned the girls in the office. They are super helpful. What is the number for your office?
Our number for our office is 836-8677.
Okay, and we'll put that at the bottom of the screen. We'll mention that a few more times because we do want as many people viewing the program to sign up as possible. What happens if I don't have insurance?
If you don't have insurance and you have a membership, it would still be covered. Obviously, if you don't have a membership or insurance, that you'd be personally responsible for the bill.
Okay. And we did talk about the typical cost of an ambulance trip, which is very, very expensive. And if you are using an ambulance, I'm sure it's an unexpected cost. So it's not something that you're planning on.
Correct.
Or you're saving a pot of money on the side for. But there are different ambulance services throughout the county. If I'm a Millcreek resident, should I specifically join MPS?
If you're a Millcreek resident, you should join MPS. You're going to dial 911 in an emergency, and we are the preferred provider by Millcreek Township, so we're the ones that are going to be coming to your residence if you dialed 911. If you're out in the county somewhere else, we do have reciprocal agreements with West County Paramedics, Central County Paramedics, some of the fire companies. So you wouldn't incur any additional fee. We work with them and it's covered. The only one that's different is Emerge Care. We do not have a reciprocal agreement with them, but if you are transported with them, you just contact our billing office, submit the bill to them, and they will cover the cost that of the Emerge Care trip.
Okay, and that was going to be my next question was, if I do spend a lot of time in the city of Erie, maybe I live in Millcreek Township, but I work in the city, should I be signed up for both services?
You only need one membership.
One membership.
One membership will cover you throughout the county.
That's perfect. And very easy to remember. I mean, you don't want to have all these different memberships to all these different groups. So if you are hurt in the city of Erie, if you do work in the city of Erie, or you're downtown or doing something, will MPS then pick me up, or would it be a different service?
You're going to most likely get emergent care because they're the closest unit. Like I said, when you dial 911, you're going to get the closest available unit, and downtown emergent care is your closest unit.
Okay. And then you'll call the office staff, and they'll be able to help you sort out all the details.
Exactly. They'll sort all the details.
Okay. And if I am picked up in the city, will MPS still cover me then?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And if I don't have an MPS membership, but I dial 911 in Millcreek, can I still get an MPS?
You're still going to get an ambulance, and it's going to be Millcreek.
Okay, wonderful. So that just tackles a lot of those membership questions that people ask you, I'm sure all the time. Again, your membership drive is going on right now, and now is a good time to sign up.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Our membership drive runs through the end of November. You can sign up by calling the office. Again, that's 836-8677. One of the girls can do it over the phone. They can send it out to your residence, or you can even stop in. We are located on the second floor of the Millcreek Township building.
Perfect. And so in a non-emergency, how far would an ambulance transport somebody?
Our ambulance for non-emergencies will transport up to 150 miles, which is covered by your membership. That encompasses any of the major metropolitan areas around Cleveland, Buffalo, or Pittsburgh. The 150 miles will get you there.
Okay, and tell me, what's considered a non-emergency versus an emergency?
A non-emergency is maybe you're transferred from one hospital to another for a higher level of care. So a non-emergency is something that is set up in advance, or you have time to plan for it. Whereas an emergency is you're obviously having a heart attack or a stroke, or something to that effect.
Okay.
Where the non-emergencies is something, well, you're going to a doctor's appointment, or you have you're going from, like I said, one hospital to another for a treatment or a higher level of care.
Okay, wonderful. And that's a great explanation because, I was just going over these questions, and I just thought, for as far as you travel for a non-emergency, I was wondering what was considered those non-emergency situations. And do you charge a fee for a wheelchair trip or a non-emergency?
We do charge a fee for the wheelchair services as we're regulated by the PUC. Our fees for wheelchair services are $35 for a one-way trip, your first 10 miles being covered, and $4 a mile after that.
Okay.
The non-emergency trips the round trips are $60, and then your first 10 miles each way is covered.
Wonderful. And we talked a lot about the nitty-gritty, the fees and membership. What other services do you provide?
We do training, CPR, first aid, bloodborne pathogens, those kind of things. We go out in the community. We do standby events for the different things. We do a lot of standby events on the peninsula. You'll see us at the McDowell football games and athletic events for them, Browns Farms for the cross-country race. We provide support to the fire departments on the fire grounds, in some cases their training grounds.
And I have seen you at a lot of those events, so you're very well known throughout the community, and we always see you in the corner just in case of an emergency. And so how would somebody go about requesting, like you said, those CPR classes or the bloodborne pathogen classes? How would somebody go about requesting those?
Again, they would call the offices, and then it would be routed to the appropriate person. Office number, again, 836-8677. They'll get somebody there. They'll route it to maybe myself, or we have a training person that does a lot of our training, and we'll set it up through them.
Okay. And obviously, your staff is so well trained. The volunteers, the EMTs, your office staff. Does your organization participate in any drills throughout the year to help prepare yourself for situations?
Oh yes, we participate in the airport drills, different disaster drills. We work with the EMA's office at the Township building with the fire chiefs from the different departments, the airport authority for the airport drill that was recent. We're doing some training at this outreach training at the school district next week. So in preparation for some drills and trainings with them later. So we do a lot, and we'll go anywhere and help anybody we can.
Tell me a little bit more, because I have heard bits and pieces, around the office about the airport drill, and I think it's a very, very interesting drill. Can you touch on it a little bit further?
With the airport drill, they simulate a plane crash, and there's victims, actual practice victims out throughout the field that are moulaged, and we work with not only the airport but the fire departments, different EMS agencies, Emerge Care's there, West County's there, and we basically treat and transport the simulated patients where they need to go. So we have practice in a mass casualty incident, separating the patients, communicating, and working through the issues that may come up, and there's always a few, and now we know how to handle them better for the next time.
Right, and it was my understanding that these drills can also be very high stress situations, because the victims of the airplane crash actually are made, they have makeup put on, and they have different, I want to say simulated injuries that make them look as if they are really injured right now, and they need help. Is that right?
Yes, they moulage them up very good. They have the region has a moulage team, and they'll come up and make it so that there's a rod protruding from their leg or something coming from their eye, or they even have pregnant patients, so they're dealing with the pregnant patients on the runway or in the field or wherever the particular patient is found at the airport grounds.
Right, right. So then it gives, both your, emergency personnel, that real life experience that, this person looks like they're bleeding. I'm, ready to go into panic mode, but now it's time to remain calm and do the training and do the job that I was taught to do.
Yes, they do have a great sense of realism, and this last one, it happened to be a lot of McDowell students, and they really got into the acting part of the whole drill.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
With the screaming and running around and doing all kinds of different things. It was pretty neat to sit back and watch.
So then they even simulate the chaos of an event.
Yes, they
like
do.
That as well.
It was quite interesting.
And where would somebody, if somebody was interested in signing up, to volunteer for one of these events to help, either be one of the victims or, do whatever else you need to do on site, where would somebody reach out?
It would probably be whoever the event organizer is. Sometimes they put like a little ad out. Sometimes they work through Matt Exley at the Township to secure some victims. We know that a lot of the school districts requires community service hours from their students, so they'll reach out to the different school districts and ask for assistance from them, so they reach out.
That sounds like a good place for some of the high school kids to hone in on their acting skills.
Yes.
So, and do you ever need volunteers for yourself, for your organization?
We don't use a whole lot of volunteers. Basically only because some of the requirements that you have to be within the organization with child clearances, and it's a lot in different HIPAA clearances. It's a lot to ask somebody to volunteer. Where we refer people that want to volunteer is to their local fire department, whether they live in the Westridge District or Westlake District or Kearsarge District. All my staff is paid and all their staff is volunteer, and they can use any extra help that they can get, whether you want to do a business function or if you want to do become a fireman or help out on the ambulances when you're on calls. Those kind of things are I always refer them to the fire departments.
Right. And so the fire departments definitely need volunteers. Again, like you said, both those who are interested in becoming firefighters, or maybe if there's some clerical work that needs done, the volunteer fire stations always need help.
Yes, they do.
Okay. And the one thing I do want to talk about, again, because your staff is so important to your organization, how does somebody become a trained EMT? They think they want to get into the medical field and they would be good go to this particular position. What is all involved?
Well, right now they basically go through and start the training somewhat on their own, as far as they go through some incident command classes that are available through FEMA online. They get their clearances, and then they attend a program, whether it's through Butler Area Community College or the Community College of Allegheny County, which they're all held locally. There was one at Westlake Fire Department recently. They hold them at the VOTEC school in those areas. They attend one of those programs. Now, one of those programs are generally between 160 and 200 hours now. Usually it's a couple nights of the week and then some odd Saturdays for a few month span. And then they end up going into a testing process, which they have both a practical testing format and a written test that they take, and then they become certified.
And at that point, they would apply for a position.
If they were
at
interested,
MPS.
they would apply for a position.
Okay. And if I wanted to support my local emergency management services, again, either specifically your office or the fire departments, what's the best way to do so? Monetarily, my time, what are some of the best options?
I think it's a combination of both. The fire departments currently get limited funding. The grants that occurred after 9/11 are kind of drying up, so they do need financial support as well. But they also need manpower and staffing to help them do things. If you have a specific business background, you could help them with financial matters. They'll take that help. If you want to get involved in the emergency side of things and run calls and train and do that thing, they need that help as well.
Bill, where, as the executive director, where do you see your vision going from here? How do you see MPS expanding into the future?
I think you're going to see some expansion from MPS out further into the community. We're going to delve into some other areas that we weren't really involved in before, because the way things are structured, the reimbursements from just the ambulance trips are decreasing. Hence, we've expanded our training programs, and we do a lot of first aid CPR training out with different facilities. And in general, there's the problem is nationally is a lot of these smaller ambulance services that are out there can't afford to stay in business, so then their area opens up and somebody has to fill a void.
And we were just talking about the show again, some of these smaller agencies versus yours, which I think is a larger agency. You have a lot of vehicles you need to maintain, a lot of equipment. Do you want to just touch on all of the assets you have within your reach at MPS?
Right now we have 7 advanced life support ambulances. One of them, which we took delivery of last week. We run 5 wheelchair vans. We also have a response unit that we'll be putting into service next week. So we have a lot of vehicles and staff on the road daily. We staff primarily out of the Westridge Fire Station on 26th Street and the Bow Valley Fire Station on the east side of the township.
That's fantastic. We are just about out of time here, but is there anything you wanted to let our viewers know before I let you go for the day and you head back to your emergency management duties, that call? Is there anything you want to let our viewers know before we leave?
Just that, like I said, our membership drive is ongoing, and it runs out at the end of November. So you can support us through our membership drive, and then continue to support your volunteer fire departments through their membership drive or your monetary or donation of time.
And one more time, the phone number, address, and if you guys have a Facebook page or a social media following.
We do have a Facebook page. It's Millcreek Paramedics on your Facebook. It should be on the bottom of the screen. The phone number is 836-8677. We do have those things out there. Support us any way you can.
And if somebody wanted to stop into the office?
3608 West 26th Street, Suite 100, I believe. We're on the 2nd floor around the corner.
Yeah, 2nd floor of the Millcreek Township building. Bill, thank you so much for joining us here today. I know that you are really, really busy with all of the services that you provide and all of the duties that you have going on specifically right now with your membership drive. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Viewers, again, MPS is a wonderful organization. They do so much for our community. If you have any classes that you would like them to hold for you, feel free to reach out to Bill and his staff. Again, don't forget about their membership drive. It's fantastic. Or if you want to become an EMT, go ahead and get your certification and put your application in at MPS. They are more than willing to accept it and always need new and excited employees and staff to help them out. Again, thank you for tuning into the Millcreek Government Channel, and until next time, have a wonderful day.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.